Hi Aquarius, welcome to your May 2020 Astrology 33 reading. Thanks to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you interested in booking a personal reading with me, I'm actually going to be taking a bit of a break from those, but check out the community section of my channel for any updates on that, as far as when I might start them back up. Worst case, if I take a longer break from them, by the time I post the June videos, I'll give you guys an update there too. Alright, and as far as what we have in front of us, we have a Celtic cross spread as always, and then we have a couple of oracle cards I pulled that we'll read after we get to the main spread, and also a Mudra card. So, getting started with the main situation. We have the Justice card. So this is the Major Arcana card for Libra. And there's not really going to be anything going on in your opposite sign, because Libra is the natural ruler of the 7th house. And not anything going on in Libra, really. So what I feel like this is saying more than anything is that this is pointing to the energy at play being ready to restore balance in some situation. Now, given that Libra does represent your 9th house, it can be around, maybe some foreign dealings that you might have had, maybe even some dealings that you've had with a higher education institution. That's another way it could play out as well. But really, I feel like for a lot of you, this is about balance being restored in a personal relationship, whether it be romantic or otherwise. And the reason I say that is because in the Challenger obstacle position, we have the 5 of Cups, and we have the 9 of Wands. So, to me, these two energies together, especially the 5 of Cups, leads me to believe it's most likely for a lot of you around a romantic relationship. Scorpio energy for you guys too is your 10th house of career and social status. So for some of you, it can be around career matters as well, possibly. And with the 5 of Cups and the 9 of Wands, it could just be saying that even though the energies at play might be trying to restore balance, you might not be ready just yet. You might still be grieving over the ending of whatever the situation may have been. And not to say that that's holding up justice, but it could just be saying that that's the challenge there. It's like, okay, for example, let's say one person's ready to rectify the situation, but you may not be yet, or vice versa. Maybe you're ready to restore the balance, but the other person is still, a little bit hurt over the situation and not ready to move forward just yet. In the foundation position, we have the 3 of Wands. So this is actually Aries energy, which for you guys, Aries represents your house of communication. So this can actually say that maybe for some of you, you might have been the ones who did extend, attempt to extend the olive branch first, and maybe you're waiting to hear a reply from the other person. And if that's the case, that could be what's at play there. This could represent their energy if that's the case, which is to say that, they're just still not quite ready to move forward yet. So I don't think that's necessarily going to stay the case, since we do see justice as the main situation, which represents the balance would be restored. So that might be the situation you're dealing with now, where maybe you did reach out to someone in some way, shape, or form recently, and now you're just waiting to hear back. Do they accept the apology? Do they want to move forward as well, right? So that could be what's going on. You might be in a bit of limbo. For those of you where this might be around, like I said, work or finances, this may be a situation where, you might feel like you've put in the work, and maybe you're just waiting for some kind of compensation for that. So, I hate to use it as an example, but let's say if somebody might have lost a job recently, maybe you're waiting to receive some unemployment benefits, maybe you're waiting for, maybe to be rehired, right? Maybe they promised, oh, we'll rehire you after a certain amount of weeks, something along those lines. But I don't think that's the case for the majority of you, given the overall energy I'm seeing. In the past position, we have the Lovers in reverse. So this is actually the Major Arcana card for Gemini, and for you guys, Gemini represents your 5th house of love and romance. So this is another indicator for me that for the majority of you, this definitely does point to a love relationship that might have, first of all, might not have even ever gotten off the ground for some reason, given that we do see the Lovers in reverse. Or at the very least, this does represent that you guys might have had a falling out for one reason or another in the past. And if that's the case, I would say that there is a good chance that it could be brought back together. It might have been more of a karmic thing as far as your separation goes, because when we think about the Lovers in the upright, it definitely looks like a, connection that is meant to be there. So when it's in reverse, could just be saying that, maybe the timing was just off. Maybe you guys had some other things you had to go through, and that could have been the main reason for the separation. In the main situation position, we have the Hierophant in the upright. So to see this card coming up here, if it is around relationships, I see this as another indicator that maybe things can be solidified between the two of you this month. We are going to have Venus actually turn retrograde this month. So if it is a past connection that might not have gotten off on the right foot in the past, this could just be saying that now that balance can be worked out between the two of you. And also, likewise, if this is around workplace stuff, like I was saying, in this case, I think of this as more like pointing to bureaucracies and corporations. So if you were waiting on some kind of finances as well in that regard, it looks like things might improve for you in that area too. In the near future position, we have the Five of Pentacles. So this is actually more Taurus energy here. This represents the first 10 degrees of Taurus too. So, at the time I'm recording this, we're just getting into Taurus season. So technically this could even just represent those first 10 degrees and maybe saying that, at the very end of April into the very start of May, this might be the energy you might have felt, right? Where you're feeling a bit left out in the cold. Especially, like I said, for some of you where maybe you reached out to someone to try to get things back on the right foot and maybe you just haven't heard back yet. So this is the feeling you could be in. Or again, it could be someone you're dealing with too that's feeling this way right now, feeling like they're left out in the cold in some situation. For some of you, it can be actual feeling of financial lack, which, a lot of people have lost their jobs recently, unfortunately, so it can be that. But for more of you, I feel like this is actually more of an emotional situation. In the position of your influence on a situation, we have the moon. So here I'm seeing that this is just saying that, maybe you're just feeling a bit confused and emotional, like not knowing what's going on, right? There could just be a lot of uncertainty in the air right now. I could definitely see that being the case. And if that's the case, a couple of important timelines you could look out for is one, that Scorpio full moon, because like I said, that is going to be in your 10th house of career and social status. So that's a pretty prominent full moon for you guys. And then if not then, by the time we have that new moon in Gemini towards the end of May, and that new moon is actually going to be trine Saturn, which is recently in your sign. So there could be definitely some significance there too, where maybe things could be cleared up and solidified too. So if we think about it, it's that new moon energy, and then with Saturn and a harmonious aspect with it, that could definitely point to where maybe we're seeing what was unstable in the past. Now you might see that stability coming through for you guys. So definitely keep an eye out for that 2-week window between the full moon around, I think, the 7th, and then let's say the 22nd or so, I believe, of May is when you might see the new moon in Gemini energy. All right, in the environment position, we have the 10 of Cups and the 7 of Pentacles. So especially if this is someone who you have extended an offer to reconcile with, seeing these two cards together does show me that they too would like to have that 10 of Cups type of connection. But at the same time, with that 7 of Cups, again, I feel like this is just something where they're not quite over it just yet. So that could be what the delay is for you guys, where you're not hearing back from them yet. And then if that's the case, this is Taurus energy representing the last 10 degrees of Taurus. So I would say between the end of the second week and start of the third week of May, you might actually hear them, hear from them rather. They might come back around at that time. So definitely, again, I feel like there's definitely importance between the full moon in Scorpio period and the new moon in Gemini. There could definitely be some significance there. For others of you, this could just be saying as well, where if this is around finances, where maybe you're starting to feel like, well, did I actually, did I invest in the right way, right? Did I do the right things in that regard? It looks like it's saying things can turn around for you, but it just might take a little patience. That's what I'm seeing there. In the hopes or fears position, we have the High Priestess. So this could just be saying that for you guys, this is more of a hope where you're just hoping that you can rely on your intuition, right? Because if you're not getting concrete information, like I said, whether it's you extend an olive branch to a person and you don't hear back, whether they accept or not, or again, if it's around finances, right? If you've applied for something, whether it be a new job or, like I said, unfortunately, if you did lose your job, if you applied for unemployment, you could be like, all right, what's going on here with this delay, right? So you could just be trying to tune into your intuition to say, all right, what should my next move be, right? And then in the outcome position, we do have the Three of Cups. So this is definitely a good energy to end on. Definitely shows some supportive energy here, celebrations, right? And I will say this is Cancer energy too. So for you guys, Cancer is your house of work and day-to-day routine. So for some of you, again, if you are looking for a job, like I was saying, even though this isn't the best market for that right now, I do feel like toward the end of May, you might actually have some positive news in that regard worth celebrating. For others of you, like I said, if this is a connection you're trying to reconnect, for most of you, I feel like it would be a romantic connection, but it could even be with family and friends, given that, we do have fourth house energy at play with all the Taurus we're seeing. Looks like there is some positive progress there as well. And at the bottom of the deck as well, we have the Star card, which is the major arcana card for your sign. So I feel like this is saying that whatever all this was that was taking place here, it actually has gotten you back on the right path. And I will say that I always point out to people that the card before the Star card in the Major Arcana is the Tower. So this could point to the fact that some of you might have gone through a Tower moment, whether it was this ending with this person, right, or again, maybe a job loss for some of you. But it could just be saying that the overall thing is there, is that now it actually has you on the right path. So this is definitely, between this and the outcome energy, definitely looks like things will improve for you guys as the month goes along. All right, moving on to your oracle cards. First, we have Between Worlds. There's the artwork, and the number is 3. So let's see what that has to say. Okay, it says transitions, not being quite out of one situation and fully engaged in another. Temporary blindness, no man's land. So temporary blindness definitely made me think of the moon energy there. And of course, the keyword being temporary. So that was what I was picking up on as well. I don't think this is going to be something that'll last too long. But let's see. The Oracle's message says, between the worlds is where you must let go of the tendency to make assumptions. This is a time when you are unable to see what is ahead. Cultivate curiosity and trust the process of change and growth. You are done learning the lessons of recent experiences. In this place, between what was and what will be, is a state of making and unmaking, and making again. What is essential now is to admit not knowing. There is great freedom and power to be unleashed. A mystery that is not yours to understand weaves the web of life within a divine matrix of consciousness greater than your own thoughts, feelings, beliefs, desires, and decisions. The seeds that were planted in the past begin to take root, but what surfaces will probably not be what you expect. When you are between the worlds, you are invited to see with the curious eyes of a child glimpsing a rainbow for the first time. Do so and you will not be disappointed. So definitely interesting there as far as that last sentence when it says you are invited to see with the curious eyes of a child glimpsing a rainbow for the first time. Obviously, that made me think immediately of the Ten of Cups energy there, right? And that could be saying that maybe things in your environment will actually shift to where maybe this is how you're viewing things now with the current energies, but as time goes along, you'll actually shift more to that energy there. Okay, the relationship message says this is a time to explore the new energy between you and another. It is not a moment for certainty, but rather for discovery and curiosity. You don't yet know if this will last forever, so allow yourself to explore who you are and what is reflected back to you. This relationship is meant to educate you about yourself. What do you need? What do you like or dislike? What values are important to you? You are in a critical phase of your relationship that is not to be dismissed or hurried. So definitely a pretty good message there, especially like I said, as far as explore the new energy between you and another. Because like I was saying, I feel like maybe in the past the timing just wasn't right between you and this person. And for some of you, I feel like it might be them who's taken a little bit longer to want to get things back on track between the two of you. But I do see that that does start to shift in a positive way. So hopefully that resonated for you guys as well. All right, and then the prosperity message says, in your work, sometimes you try things that have worked for others, hoping that you too will be successful. When this symbol appears, it reminds you that sometimes the path to your prosperity is a gamble. Win or lose, you can learn much from what comes of your wager. It's a good time to bet on your skills and talents in new and different arenas, excuse me. Remain curious, and with the right combination of timing and luck, you will stumble upon something golden that will be unlike anything you've known before. So, definitely an interesting message there. And I will say, with that Venus energy in your fifth house, and eventually the sun's going to be there as well. Mercury, so there's going to be a lot of energy going through your fifth house of creativity as well. So, maybe that'll help you guys get some ideas in that regard. But hopefully that resonated too. All right, next we have Vulture Spirit. Nothing is wasted. There's the artwork, and the number is 63. Okay, it says, what seems hideous has its own beauty, and the recycling and repurposing the vulture does is as important as any other activity in nature that supports the cycle of life. Vulture Spirit's message is that nothing is to be wasted, for nature sees value in everything that exists. What seems rotten and ugly has the potential to be transmuted into something beneficial, and you are reminded that any suffering you have experienced has not gone to waste. Wisdom and understanding that arose from the experience are talismans that will serve you on your journey wherever you go. What is decaying is only changing form and will fertilize seeds you wish to plant, turning that which has passed away into the substance that will support new growth. All that you might wish to deny or discard has value and can be repurposed and reintegrated into the new you that you are becoming and the new life that you are dreaming into being. No pain was in vain, and no experience was wasted, for you have the power to use it to co-create something far better. This is the miracle in your partnership with Spirit. So definitely a pretty good message there too, and especially for those of you where you're the ones who are in that energy with the Five of Cups and the Nine of Wands, possibly even that Five of Pentacles, which is to say that, even if you have gone through a rough patch, and I was saying here with the Star card at the bottom of the deck, like I pointed out, that this could point to that maybe some of you recently did go through a tower moment. I think the message there is that you'll actually start to see now that that wasn't a waste of time, that actually helped you grow and get you on the right path. So hopefully that resonates for you guys as well. All right, and the last thing we have is Mudra card for you guys, and the Mudra you guys got this month is Shakti Mudra, and the keyword for it is inspiration. So again, that's another indicator that could point to that creative energy at play this month. There's a lot on this card, so I don't think I could fit it all in the frame it. Well, yeah, maybe. There we go. So if you guys want to pause it or take a screenshot, you can if you want to read what it says. But it says calms the mind, relaxes the body, induces sound sleep, reduces cramping of lower abdominal organs, especially useful for relieving menstrual cramps, releases pelvic tension, heals physical and emotional trauma associated with unconscious sex and or sexual abuse, opens the door to receptivity and intimacy, serves as a powerful connection to the divine feminine, the lunar rhythms, tides, and the myriad cycles of nature. So if that sounds like something you would find beneficial, I will put the name of the mudra in the description as always. We'll wrap up there, guys. I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.